Hello and welcome to Spring Commander Forged Alliance. As you may have noticed, I've just uploaded a whole bunch of videos from Attorney, and this one's not from any Attorney. It was just a video that was sent to me, and this is something I think I enjoy a little more. These games usually end up being a lot more high quality. When in Attorney you get all kinds of things happening, and usually people dying very quickly, but still fun to play, but maybe not as fun to watch as some of the better games. So if people still want me to do tourneys, they can let me know. I like to focus on games like this. So big thanks for sending this one to me. And I'm definitely looking, if anybody wants the game, saw a good game and they'd like it casted, definitely send it. So second air from WARHEAD with 7 power generators. Classic build. It's a great build. Multiple scouts as well, going out with engineers. No engine to the middle yet. And Cybran, UEF versus Cybran battles, some of the best. It's nice on this map because there isn't overpowering Tech 1 floating unit, so both players are really resigned to Tech 1 to land. But of course the Tech 2 Riptide had a definite advantage. And it looks like second air from Kunkka as well. Only going with 6 pigeons, however. But of course with the Hydra, not that big a deal. Now we'll slow this down. Yeah, the Hydra just a little slower for WARHEAD. That's really the difference. Mech Marine going to the side. Actually, it's a Hunter. A nice scout here from WARHEAD, so we'll see anything coming in. Multiple scouts here in both corners. Give a forewarning, and both scouts will see a Hunter coming their way. Here comes an interceptor and a bomber. So WARHEAD with a bomber. Kunkka with the interceptors, multiple interceptors now coming out. Looks like they're just in the patrol over the middle. See what this one can do. It's definitely looking for that NG. A little too sharp of an angle. It's not. And here's a bomber actually from Kunkka. It's not a Seraphim bomber, so it's a little harder to drop those bombs. The ACU for WARHEAD going to the middle. It looks like multiple tanks. One of these tanks got a kill. Don't see that Hunter anywhere, so that must have been the Hunter. The ACU for Kunkka going to the bottom corner. And here is a drop from Kunkka. Is going to try to take the top. So ACU to the bottom, drop to the top. This is a familiar build here. Let's see what these engineers do. If you can get a couple factories here, especially with WARHEAD going to the middle with the ACU, it's going to be very nice. We do see now Kunkka with an air advantage, definitely air domination, and that's most likely because, well, no, he's just got an air factory. Oh, he's got 3 air factories, and that's what's giving him that advantage. He also has a whole bunch of power. Kunkka here using a whole bunch of it, really nice eco. Really light on mass. He's not really producing that much land, but he's producing a whole bunch of air and a whole bunch of power. Here we see the engineer got the point defense off, but the ACU will take care of. Of course, that's a really big piece of intel. Now Kunkka knows he won't have to deal with the ACU in the corner here, and he won't have to deal with the ACU on the bottom. Will allow him to take both sides of the map. WARHEAD picking up a couple nice rocks. So air control in Kunkka's favor, and he can now say map control also shifting in Kunkka's favor. Looking at air production, 2 air factories here for WARHEAD. And the eco, he is producing slightly less power, but he's definitely not stalling, using just as much as he have. But he does have 2 power generators, 2 engineers on power generator spam. He won't have too much problems. It does have quite a bit more mass, it seems. He has been teching quite a bit more. He's got 3 Tech 2 mass extractors. I'm not sure if Kunkka has similar. He has just started upgrading this first. A lot more mass for WARHEAD, but significantly more power. This is an interesting situation. We see WARHEAD actually dominating air above the air production, so he's preventing air production even though he has less interceptors. Interceptors for Kunkka are away from home, and they're going to do the same. So both players are now going to prevent the other from producing air. You can see when you have a number advantage, it's really easy to dominate. Now the bomber didn't get to fly much. The air production is now going to be stopped. Warhead going into the Navy. Not clear. He's going straight to Tech 2. Here coming up a minute 10. The ACU for Warhead going to the bottom corner. He's going to try to fight the ACU from Kunkka, but that's going to be very difficult given there's a point defense and factories. And up on top, total domination, 3 land factories, is now going to pick up the Hydra. That's very significant, especially early on. But the Manta are going to run into a big group of tanks. So 4 or 5 land factories here producing land going sideways. And we still got the same situation, interceptors. However, 5 kills for this flag. It's kind of inexcusable, a bit of a waste. We also have Navy now for Kunkka. It isn't going Tech 2. And this is a very quick Tech 2. A lot of eco. So Warhead went heavy on eco, heavy on mass, and went straight to Navy. That's really the way to go. Looks like he has paused the air because he doesn't have the power for it. Still producing power, however, once he gets his power back in a positive. Very good play from Warhead in terms of dealing with his economy, but he still has those big problems with map control. A little surprised that Kunkka hasn't made some gestures to take out the middle. He has had pretty much air domination. Well, that's perhaps he was getting dominated over his air production. Maybe he had the idea, just at the wrong time couldn't execute it. The ACU for Warhead now with the gun coming out of the water. He's going to chase some Manta back home. Kunkka got a Tech 2 land factory, making some Tech 2 engineers. And of course Warhead now can outrange this Tech 1 point defense. So Kunkka has to take some action. He can't just expect this Tech 1 point defense to save him. You can see it disappeared very quickly. There goes radar. And of course the Warhead does have some support. And down the middle some bombers. Looks like they're going to go after these mask structures. It'd be nice to see it drop with an engineer and just capture those. Tech 2 air from Kunkka now. Those gunships are going to be very nice. Kunkka, very good eco. They got 1,000 in the bank. Making some Tech 2 point defenses, and actually his ACU could be a little bit of trouble. Does have Tech 1, multiple Tech 1 point defenses, so he's in good shape, plus some wangers. It'd be difficult to break from this position. But the multiple Tech 2 gunships, so a snipe is being prepared by Kunkka against Warhead's ACU. This bomber slowly taking care of these mask extractors. So Warhead now is sitting at 67 mass. He's already got a destroyer, and that's gonna really suck for Kunkka. Of course, with Tech 2 air, with these gunships, he can counter the destroyer quite easily, and he still has air domination. So this destroyer is not gonna live very long. It's a bit of a waste. And as soon as Kunkka saw this destroyer, he's gonna hit it quite hard. There's another destroyer that was finished, and a cruiser not coming up. Warhead in a lot of trouble here. He's got to get out of the water, and he lost a lot of health very quickly there. And torpedo bombers, he's gonna go under 1,000. He's just gone down to 400. And you can't say going out into land is gonna really be good. There's gunships there. He is sending interceptors. Another 600. He's gonna get hit by some more torpedoes, I think. Looks like that torpedo bomber wasn't targeting him, but there's still some torpedo bombers around. Here's a cruiser. It really would take 2 more passes of torpedoes. It goes down to 200. 1 more pass, but the cruiser just in time to save Warhead. But these gunships now just demolishing everything in their path. A cruiser together with a shield. I'd love to see more torpedo bombers. Here they are. They need to come in and finish Warhead off here, minute 16. We also have another front here, which we kind of forgot about, but both sides building up a pretty large force. But so far, air completely dominated by Kunkka. So we're seeing T2 air versus T2 Navy. Warhead very much exposed. And another destroyer. 2 destroyers very much killed for no reason here. this cruiser, 22 kills, is going to get a lot of kills against there. Plus Tech 2 flag, so this is not a place you want to fly. We actually see a lot of those Tech 2 gunships disappeared. Some of them are retreating. And for Kunkka, the reason he isn't ending the game, he does not have sonar in this position. So he doesn't know where exactly the ACU is. And when the torpedo bombers that do have sonar come in, they get killed immediately by the cruiser. It looks like there was a pretty big battle here, a lot less units left, but neither side really made much progress. Tech 2 gunships, of course, for Kunkka can shift this one. Unless, and this is, yeah, you don't want to get those hit by a whole bunch of cruise missiles, and I think they are going to get hit by a bunch of cruise missiles. I think they got up just in time. Now this cruiser with 47 kills plus a destroyer and a shield. This shield is really key, 8,000 health. It'll take a lot of torpedo bombers to break through it. And here up on top, it is a victory for Kunkka on the ground. Kunkka also dominating ground here on the bottom. ACU for Warhead is going to get out of the water. He's probably going to get a new front. He does have Tech 2 land with some mongoose coming out now, but total now map domination, land domination by Kunkka. This is a bit reminiscent of Slin Follow versus Voodoo game, where Slin was left with only cruisers in the water and he had middle. And then he came back and won anyway, even though Voodoo had total control all over the map. The game is uploaded if people are interested. I think it's one of the greatest Supcom games. But so far this cruiser, 82 kills. This is definitely the best unit in the game. You can see it's got anti-air, it's got cruise missiles. It also has a cannon on the front, which it is using. If anybody thinks they have a better naval fighting war game, I'd like them to show that to me, and I'll probably call bullshit. But meanwhile, I'm talking about random things. Warhead is in quite a bit of trouble. He's got land inside his base. He's got to worry about power here. Looking at Warhead, he does have excess power. He does not want to lose power, because then his cruiser won't have shields. He'll be much more vulnerable. 95 kills for the cruiser. He's got another cruiser, and he's got a destroyer, 13 kills. Of course, the destroyer can't reach all the way, and some of these units here in the back. Warhead, though, 60 kills. Cleaning up, 14 mass for Warhead, so he's in huge problems in terms of eco. He's just got to hold on to his Tech 2 power generator. He can't lose that. Because of the mass, he can always reclaim a little more. Kunkka, meanwhile, is down to plus 30, so he has taken a huge hit as well, but in terms of overall eco, definitely double the mass and a lot more power. In terms of map control, has the corners still, but those will be vulnerable against the cruisers. He is trying to get into the water, and of course if he could rush Tech 2 Navy really quick, he could counter both the destroyers and the cruisers for UEF. Warhead, 68 kills, and you can see 400 health left. If I was Kunkka, I would actually get a bomber and bomb that. A couple Tech 1 bombers, and that thing is dead. If you can get the bomber over there, of course. And this flow of Tech 1 units actually kind of slowing down. Kunkka can't really afford that as much anymore. 7,000 reclaim, but at 30 mass, it's very difficult. He did lose his Tech 2 air production. Actually lost another Tech 1 air factory. Where did those cruisers go? So now we're seeing Warhead. He's going to put one cruiser, this one's 41 kills, into the top corner. If he can deny all the mass and all the power. But I would really love to see, well, there's TMD here. That's really the reason he didn't want to shoot here anymore. It looks like he's bringing these cruisers, but of course that TMD could have been easily taken out by the destroyer. Destroyer could reach this far. So I think a little more work here would have been better. Warhead with some mobile shields, reclaiming mass. So Warhead should have decent eco. He's got plenty of mass, he's got enough power, but he's got to get more power built. Extremely vulnerable situation for him. And also now making torpedo boats just in case there are submarines somewhere. There's definitely no submarines anywhere. Kunkka's ACU here was stealth and Tech 2, and curious, does he have the torpedo launcher upgrade? He does. a very powerful anti-naval. You can see the green. That's where he has his torpedo range, and with stealth, that's a very powerful weapon, especially against EDF. Although it's a dangerous game using your ACU to fight off a large navy. Warhead is now going to try to win back some of the land here, minute 26, moving down with the ACU. Meanwhile, his navy is going to absolutely demolish here at the top corner. Of course, Kunkka now with a Tech 2 Navy is going to go with torpedoes, Tech 2 stealth submarines, and he also has a sonar, a stealth sonar Tech 3, so he has total coverage of the map. If he would have had that when Warhead's ACU was walking underwater, he would have easily won the game. It was really one torpedo bomber pass. That's all it took. That's all it would have taken. An air factory for Warhead. He's got to get some Air Force back. And this game is kind of getting back to being even. Actually quite even. This naval fight will be very interesting. And of course now we see these pretty pathetic display of Wangers versus a torpedo boat. This unit specializes in torpedoes, and Wangers have the weakest torpedoes in the game. They do have quite a bit of health. Each one of these is 1400 health. That's one thing that they can do. But still, this torpedo boat is going to dominate. There's going to be some nice juicy chunks of mass. Actually, the bombers, Tech 1 bomber is doing more damage than the Wangers torpedoes. And as soon as Warhead gets his air factory, he's got to get some transports. He's got to take over that top corner. TMD, very well placed TMD here from Kunkka with his ACU, and his ACU together with stealth. He's got multiple submarines now. He can take on this navy, I believe. I think he can definitely take it on. Looking at Kunkka's, he's got plus 46, 45 mass. Warhead at plus 32, so both players kind of catching up. Kunkka still has significant advantage in power, however. Map control, though, it's very much even. A lot of mask extractors, potential mask extractors for Warhead. Warhead also a good-looking Tech 2 force here with a lot of mongoose. He can choose to make a push, put some pressure. Although there are two Tech 2 units here as well from Kunkka. And let's see, here's the naval fight. There is a torpedo boat here, no shields. Destroyer torpedo boat and a couple of cruisers. They're going to put pressure on this naval, and we're going to see 5 submarines. It's going to be extremely difficult. They're going to target the torpedo boat, and if that torpedo boat goes, which it just did, EF extremely vulnerable. And these are going to be some veterans. 135 kills, 137, 95 on the destroyer, 58 on the other cruiser. And these are some fresh. This is another destroyer with 53 kills. You can see those submarines just disappeared, but they're still there. Oh, they retreated. There's still 4 of them left. One thing that they don't have is as much health as the destroyers. And now some bombers as well. Yeah, destroyers in general, especially EDF. This destroyer is just so powerful. It's a 5-star destroyer, 10,000 health destroyer. This is much better than a regular destroyer. Plus, it regenerates at 15. It looks like they were able to win it. I'm gonna see a nice battle here. Once again, a land battle here, minute 32. And given that Kunkka was unable to make enough submarines to really put up a fight, this is going to be very difficult for him. One thing that's unfortunate, he did not use his ACU together with his submarines. Would have given him a very big advantage. Those torpedoes were very powerful. But now that he's all alone, it will be much more difficult. Another assault now directly on Kunkka's base, but it's a good combination. Tech 2 point defense and TMD. It's a point defense against the destroyer. But of course, the destroyer is very powerful. And once they take out the TMD, the cruisers are going to get free shots. But Very surprisingly, Tech 1 bomber is actually taking out all those cruisers. Still total air domination by Kunkka. The ACU for Warhead completely regenerated, 72 kills, making more destroyers. And it appears that Kunkka was able to make some progress with his Tech 2 force. Wanger's leading the way, very good tanks, especially in close quarters. They will absolutely devastate the Mongoose. If the Mongoose don't kite, they're basically like 2 Tech 1 units, I mean a little more damage. That was a total disaster now for Warhead. And this is also a disaster, getting killed. Veteran destroyers getting killed by Tech 1 bombers. This is insanity. This should never happen. Although, I mean, what can you do? What you can do is make interceptors, make power interceptors. But now Warhead is going to get back on land and play some defense. '87 kill destroyer getting killed by Tech 1 bombers. That's a very rare sight. This is a nice force though. Flag, shields, mongoose, and pillars. Pillars is really the unit you'd want against the wangers, but the pillars are way on the other side. Warhead 72 kills, and now we have Kunkka coming in with this commander, the torpedo commander. And I believe he can actually take on this entire navy. He's being a little paranoid, he's a little afraid, he doesn't want to get sniped, but he has total air control. Now we're going to see the shields working very well together with flak. I know those bombers that did so much damage won't get to do much more. Of course, a lot of really juicy wrecks now for Kunkka. I imagine Kunkka now has 1400 reclaim, still at 1000 power, and no mass problems whatsoever. Well, Warhead 49 power, it's actually more mass production than Kunkka. Is back to Tech 2 mass extractors and nearly identical power. But the difference is he's making navy, while Kunkka is making air. And this navy is going to be good. I think a couple torpedo boats would be nice once he actually faces that ACU. Because right now I'm actually going to speed this up because neither player is really. Maybe they're just resting, I'm not sure. Neither player doing much. Well, except this assault that's going to be stopped by Tech 2-point defenses. And that's probably not worth it. It's good to just retreat. Warhead taking back some map control. A whole bunch of new mass extractors. And here we're going to have this fight. Kunkka against destroyers. A lot more damage by the ACU. Much better torpedoes, but of course destroyers a lot more health. Another Tech 2 naval factory, this time going for destroyers. The transport, Tech 2 transport for Kunkka, more Tech 2 transports, more TMD, and this perhaps will be yet another assault by Warhead on the main base. These cruisers, yeah, they wipe out everything at a very long range. Interceptors for Warhead, checking out what's going on the map. That's one thing to note about Warhead's position. He hasn't had air for a long time, so he may not have realized just how good his position is. But now he's got engineers everywhere. Interceptors next to enemy mass extractors, and they can't do anything about it. That's one difference between Total Annihilation and Supreme Commander. Much more specialized units in this game. That allows for a lot more different units. Warhead still very much in a big naval spam. The wangers rolling through. They're gonna run into a Warhead. Shields together with mongoose. Really no chance. And now Kunkka's main base. It looks like those TMDs have fallen. No more point defenses, and this is going to be a complete loss. And that means Kunkka is this is a very significant loss that he just suffered. He is making a navy, but a single destroyer is not going to be enough. See Kunkka back on land. He's going to try to do a tech 2-point defense creep against Warhead. There is a navy in support here for Warhead, plus a shield. This massive UEF shields. Looks like Warhead now having some power problems. A few too many shields. 150 power required to run that shield in here from the back. UEF destroyer now getting hit by Cybran, which you can't see. And you can see the range on the Cybran destroyer significantly longer. That's why UEF will die against Cybran. Tech 2-point defenses. Warhead, love to see Warhead being a little more aggressive with the ACU. Although he's probably just playing it safe. Those are pillars together with Mongoose. Wanger strike back, but really gotta say Warhead has a lot more units. Kunkka gotta do some overcharging here. If he has any hope in destroyer now for Kunkka gets on land. It's like a nice walking point defense. It's a moving point defense creep. That's really nice here from Kunkka. Meanwhile, his original base completely devastated, and now the Navy coming in is going to do the exact same thing to his bottom corner. He's going to be completely out of luck. We've just seen a huge reversal in terms of map control. At one point, Warhead had only his main base, with Manti killing off his power, and we can see this is how far away he was from dying. Well, besides his AC going down to 200, if he would have lost his power, he would have most likely lost. Yeah, and Kunkka is completely right. His game was his at least twice. Of course, Warhead is correct to say no because he is now winning, but calculated risk, of course, yeah. And Kunkka very much suicidal. But once he gets underwater, well, I think that naval battle where those submarines were taking on the Navy, if the ACU was there, Kunkka could have had a chance. But 48-minute game, a very good game. I really enjoyed this one. Hopefully people did